All right. Welcome. How do I? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. I am Harrison. Today we are doing something fun. Today we are drawing. We're drawing Zabuza from Naruto. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the live. If you are joining in, today we are drawing Zabuza from Naruto. I've been wanting to draw him for a while. So I'm just going to sharpen my pencil here. I know I have a pencil sharpener, but I don't know. There's something therapeutic about using a knife to get a nice, like, thin, straight edge. Honestly, the reason behind the blade and the really thin pencil tip is so that you are more cognizant of how you're drawing. Let's wipe some of that graphite away. So that you're taking more time, you're being patient, you're not rushing through it and pressing too hard. I think that's like a huge thing with drawing, is making sure that your strokes are deliberate. I am going to be pulling up some reference for Zabuza. You guys won't be able to see this. I'm just pulling up a reference photo of Zabuza on my computer. That way I am not just going off memory, because if I went off memory, it would not be good, trust me. So I have him tucked away on my computer screen. How do I get you? There we go. Perfect. All right. So let's dive in, shall we? Excuse my messy desk. I got all my tools here and all my things. Probably won't use all of these. Like, I don't know. Who knows? There's only a couple things. So I'm gonna kind of fill up this page, and then we'll see what happens. Start by blocking out the head. Nice light circle. We got his head here. Ideally, this is the point of the chin. It's going to be kind of like a bust. So we got his shoulders in here. And in my reference, his neck just kind of probably a little too small, which is crazy because usually my drawings are the reverse. All my characters are usually way too big, and then I have to scale them down. So the fact that he's a little big, or I mean, he's a little small for the page is fine with me because then I can kind of expand it as this process goes on. Um, so this is a good starting point here um, for what I'm trying to do. So now, typically now my next step is to block in. Um, See, this is why I don't do lives. I just keep having brain fart after brain fart. It's so much easier to just narrate afterwards. But okay, so I have my basic shapes. I have my skull shape, my jaw, somewhat of a neck. This is not perfect. And then we got our shoulders. So we have a general idea of where our character is going. So now, typically, what I would do is figure out like the center of our face. And because the reference I have Zabuza is in like a 3/4 turn, we only really are going to see like, this small section of his face. Um, it's like a 3/4, not really down, not really up. It's just like a weird mid, like cocked head, kind of thing. So, um, something like that. I guess we kind of see under his nose. We probably need more space. I miss this era of Naruto and this era of anime. Like, so good. Just peak anime. I mean, this show gets way better, but I mean, come on. Okay, so we have our head outline, and I'm just defining the shape more as I go. You can tell I'm not putting a lot of pressure into my pencil. I'm keeping it very light. Couple of reasons. One, I don't want the tip of the lead to snap. Two, I'm not committing to any lines yet. So everything is just super soft in case I need to erase it. I'm not scrubbing my paper. So that's a big reason why having this really thin tip helps. It's you're not committing to anything just yet, and we'll get there. I'll explain how to do that with a pencil like this as we further get down. But that's also why we have a secondary pencil, and you can. This drawing is only going to be in pencil, but we can, um, you know, another reason to keep it light is so that if you want to ink it or marker it, that your pencil doesn't really come through. So let's let's we'll indicate it. I don't want to, like I said, commit to anything about his ear. So in my reference, the ear comes to about below the nose and just at the eyebrow line. So we can just indicate that. And then neck. And this part of the neck. Feels a little off right now, but I think maybe the shoulder's too long. We'll see. Let's come back to this. Let's worry about the face for right now. So now we can start putting in some of our facial features. Um, for me, the biggest one is the nose, like the nose and the eyes. That'll really set the move, like the next steps of moving forward with this. Typically, I don't like to use the eraser in this stage because it's not really necessary. I'm just loosely putting things in, but I don't know what I was doing with that line there, so um, we're gonna get rid of it. Also, another thing that I have to keep in mind is that like Zabuza has bandages on his face, so I have to whatever I do, I have to like make sure that lines aren't going all the way to the edges, um, and I have room to add those like bandages that he is so famously wearing. There's a decent gap, I would say, between his eyes. I don't know about you guys, but I personally think that they killed Zabuza off way too soon. He should have stayed around. He was an awesome villain, and I wish we got to see more of him. All right, so I if you caught that, I indicated where some of his bandages are going. Um, I guess this one would indicate like his mouth. Not exactly happy with this the structure of his face here. I think it's a little too narrow. See, that's exactly why we're not drawing heavy. Because if we need to erase, it's pretty much gone. Like if I press a little harder, it'll be completely gone. So most of the time when I'm drawing, I don't really have a plan of of how I'm doing things step by step. It's typically just as I see it and as it's going to help me progress the drawing forward. I know there's probably a series of steps that I should do that would help me get to the final piece a lot easier. Um, but I've developed some a reasoning and a style for doing things the way I don't know. I just see like it just makes sense to me, and that's it. Like the steps that I take make sense to me and my flow. Um, so don't let anyone tell you like you have to do it. You have to go like from like the top down, or you have to start at the eyes. Whatever is gonna help you achieve the piece that you're trying to make go for. Um, you know, as long as you know the fundamentals and basics, like don't let anyone tell you you can't do it a certain way. I think our head's too small. Oops, lost my microphone. Maybe that's why this is not feeling right. I'm sitting here like checking, I'm at it from one angle here, but I'm looking at my monitor up there and from your guys' angle, and it looks a little off. And so I think the head's not big enough. Perhaps that's why like it's not quite working. Listen, doing what I just did is totally okay. It's a part of the process. Like you're allowed to start over. You're allowed to say like, "Hey, this is not working. Let me just erase it all." Um, just because you got this far doesn't mean you have to stick with this. Like if I decided that this is not the move, like let's just start from scratch. I've done it plenty of times. Look, yeah, I have an example here where I started drawing Naruto at one point, and I even I even drew it like it's gross, like it just doesn't look like Naruto. But I just started fresh, and look at that. There's a huge difference between this and that. And sometimes you just have to say, screw it, I'm starting from scratch. Like it's fine. That's how it goes. I think I can still get somewhere with this. I just need to fix the proportions. So that's fine. And it's all about checking your reference, checking your work at different angles. That's why you should always back up from your work. Um, if you have the space, prop it up, like stand 10 feet back and really look at it. Is it working? Does it look like the thing that I'm trying to represent? If not, figure out why. Like check your references. Is your spacing off? Is your shapes wrong? Like think of everything as shapes. Like, and when I erased that line before, that's what I was trying to do. I was like, what is the shape in between the eyes? Sometimes it's not necessarily drawing an eye. It's like, what is this shape? Like there's I can already tell like some of this like chin area is not big enough because in my reference there's like a weird like triangle shape. It looks like the state of North Carolina, like it, and this is not that shape. So I need to elongate the chin and then somehow fit that shape in there. Um, so let's actually do that. And that's a better way to look at your drawings is in shapes. Like if all of my drawings are certain shapes, where do those go and where do those fit? Not necessarily like, oh, that's a mouth, that's an eye. It's I think that way when you're looking for specific shapes, like I'll show you right now, like this, it does make it look like he's got an open mouth. But that's the shape that I'm seeing in this specific reference. And then this piece goes down like that. And then we have another shape like that. And then this goes out like that. So I think like doing it like this, one, it's more interesting, it's more fun, it just breaks up your drawing. So it's a good way to study other artists and other drawings. Um, just look for shapes. Like there's shapes in everything. Like when we started, the top of the skull was a circle. Like, and then now, so this line here kind of points to this, and so like certain shapes and certain lines can help you like connect and make other lines. Like it can help you find the point of like if your drawing is not matching, you're like, okay, well, if this line, if the tip of the chin was up here and this line was here when it really needs to be down here, then you're like, okay, well, something's not right, and either everything's squished or too elongated. So copying shapes actually really help you in the sense of if this is what I'm seeing and something else is supposed to meet it on this plane, then it'll help you line everything up. So now we know that um, this point here is in the same sort of plane as this one. So I can get that going that way. In fact, I still think it's too small. My reference still has so many lines going on. I think it's still not quite there. There's also, should be a bigger, well, no, that works. There's like this kind of a shape in here. Okay, I think that's a good width. All right, so I've dropped down to the getting some of the detail in the neck. I think having a base for your character's head to stand on is always a nice help. Sometimes I can also help bring you into perspective and make sure proportions are working. Um, again, let's focus on shapes. This shape is not correct. So let's see, where are we losing it? This shape is like a triangle. But I think I have it overly exaggerated here. There we go. Got the shape. That's what I was looking for. So for me, most of drawing is just trial and error. It's figuring out what works, what is not working, and how do we make it work. That's why finding those shapes, like I keep saying, is so helpful, because when you look at it, you're like, what is not working and how do I get this to work? Um, like this neck bit wasn't working for me for a second because I was like, why can't I get this weird like triangle? And once I got the rest fit. So always look for those shapes. And I know you're gonna get annoyed of me saying it, but it really helps. It's really like helpful to see those things. Like this eye is not working at all. Because I just threw in an eye. It's not definitely wasn't paying attention to shapes yet. Like there's a couple different triangles things going on, and now that I have um, a good idea of where it's supposed to be, like it should, his eye should be within this shape, like it lines up here. Like again, like I feel like we're still. Why do I feel like we're still too small? Okay, so this whole section, the shape goes into there. Let's look at it like a bigger shape. Goes into that. We have triangle. We have that. Okay. Eye fits somewhere in there. Okay. So now we know the eye goes somewhere in here. So, if you haven't already guessed, we are drawing one of the saddest moments in Naruto. One of them, not the Jiraiya one for me was the saddest. So, but this, I think this is a close second. I don't know what it is about anime and it being so sad. I think I've definitely cried more in anime than I have in any other form of visual media. They just do something to you, and I don't know if it's because you spend years watching the characters, but man, they really get you. Drop it down in the comments. I want to know which anime you cried in, and be honest. I definitely cried in Naruto. I've cried in One Piece, um, Rurouni Kenshin. Like those are the three that I can think of that I definitely have cried in because of character deaths. But I would love to know what other people have cried in. Okay, so this is looking awesome. There's a lot more we still have to do to get it to the finish. Um, let's see. I know a lot of people think ears are tricky. I love drawing ears. For me, they're so simple. Like it's just following shapes. Like you can't really see, but like there's so many different fun. Wow, my ears are just strapped to the back of my head. But there are so many fun shapes, and all you're doing is just following lines. Um, and honestly, ears can be so simple depending on if you're creating your own character. Like we all know what ears look like. You just want to indicate it, indicate it. But yeah, it's ears are like there's one. You have one major outline on the interior, two, three, four, five maybe lines. And again, it's shape. There's like oh this little bean shape and another bean shape inside. Ears are fun. Now we can get into the hair territory. Anime hair is so tricky because if you don't get it right, it looks like crap. Yeah, I missed it. I mean, it's not horrible. I just kind of missed the mark. See, look, I pressed a little too hard um, with my pencil, and now you can see some of those marks. So tricky. Anime hair is the worst to try to replicate because it just is. If you get it wrong, it throws the whole thing off. There we go. All right. I'm going to use this so I don't smudge anything. See, like, how did that happen? It's like not lining up. Okay, we gotta find a different strategy. So I think maybe so. This one, the gap is not that big. So we know we have like a little wave shape there. We know, based on my reference, we know that the big middle piece is right here. And then there's three, we have three mountain like ish looking peaks. This is not them. I'm just indicating them. And then we have this one. Then we have three like large peaks. Something like that. Okay. So that's not that's not the hair at all, but that's like the rough like blocking of the amount of shapes and things that are in there. Um we'll keep it like that for right now. Um let's also get this. There we go. That looks better. I'm happy with that. And nothing has to be perfect. Like your drawing does not have to look exactly like the reference you're going for. Like this definitely doesn't look like it's straight from the pages of the manga. Like this is my interpretation of it. So naturally there will be things that I adjust to fit my style. I mean it does look like it, but it like Zabuza, but it's not identical. It's not like I was the creator of this manga. So all good. Don't let things get like hung up. All right. Now we can block in some of this like other detail, I think. Get a little Land of the Rain marks in there. You can get some of this famous Kishimoto battle damage up in here. Okay, so now I think we can start really getting in some of these details. Or not only can we start putting in the details, but we can lock in a lot of our lines. One thing I'm going to do is go back and start really like just essentially what we would do in the ink stage, and it's just like confirm some of these lines that we've made and just basically commit them to the paper. Like we're happy with them and we want them to live on this page forever. So as we're starting to add the detail in, it's really, you can tell and you can see that it's really coming to life. Like now that all these battle damages and all these shadows and things are coming in, it's really starting to bring Zabuza more to the page, and we can actually see what like all of our initial soft sketching did for us, um, and it really, really helped get us a nice foundation of Zabuza, and now we're just free to like play around and add in all our detail and really just make him pop. If you remember when I initially started this, his shoulders were up here, but now the tip of his shoulder is down here. So it's as your drawing progresses, things morph and things change. Like if we kept it up here, like our the skull changed. It was way smaller than this. It was at least half the size, and as we morphed and moved and made things fit better, things expanded and changed and shifted. So his shoulders here, we don't even see his any of his shoulder really, just an indication that it's there, um, which I think is a little bit more of a nice dynamic like snapshot of this scene, um, instead of just like we get a full body and copying it from exactly. We get a nice little like cropped um, image. I completely forgot. We also have, and I've been staring at it this whole time. We also have um, the part of his headband that hangs off. And it's pretty much this whole chunk. So the bottom of the knot stops at the bottom of like this mouth part, and the top of the knot pretty much starts at the top of the eyelid. And then this piece, the part that hangs, is pretty much in line with the corner of the eye to here. It swoops and then oops, and then drops. So we actually might lose this shoulder because of where this part's coming from. And then the other part of our like bandana scarf thing is pretty much in line with the bridge of the nose. Yeah, so we might lose all this. No, I mean, not might. We are. We're losing all that detail. But that's okay. Okay. Now I think what we can do is let's add some of our shading in. We're going to switch pencils. Um, this now will help us see what still needs to be done. Let's start with the hair. I love shading. It's so like therapeutic just to sit here and fill in a huge block. I think I just want to make sure that the headband is locked in. Here we go. Oh yeah. There's some battle damage up here. All right, now that we have all of our darkest tones laid out, we can go back in and clean up anything. Now we can kind of break out the eraser and for any lines that we don't want to keep. We can get rid of them. I'm just checking for any last minute detail that I might have missed. Um, I'm like also debating if I put in like these little wisps in the background, but um, let's just see. What does this do for us? I don't even know what these things are. Leaves floating in the wind. I mean, hey, I think this is pretty freaking awesome. There's always a lot more you could do to a drawing. I don't think a drawing is ever truly done. It's just a matter of stopping. Um, and in my reference, there's a screen tone over Zabuza. Um, he's like in gray, and the whites of his eyes are visible. I am not gonna do that. That would require a lot of shading. I don't have screen tones, uh, but if you would like to see me ink this, I can bring it into Photoshop and we can add those screen tones, and I can do a video on putting on screen tones um, and shadows and things like that. But I think that's where I'm going to stop it. This was so much fun. I'm really happy with the product here and how this turned out. I think this was great. If you guys like what you saw, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. If you want to see more, drop a comment. Leave me a suggestion of what you want to see, and I would be happy to do it. I love making these videos. And if you want more tutorials like this, more lives, let me know. I will be happy to do it. Thank you so much for joining me today on this live draw with me. And I will see you next time.